Thanks, Steve. Well, here we are for round 2 of the 1995 Australian Drivers' Championship, and with me now is Paul Stokel. Paul, winner of round 1 down at Phillip Island, but the competition is looking tough here this weekend.
Yeah, it certainly is. Steve Cramp and Kevin Weeks, Chris Hocking, they've all been going quick in pre-race testing, and I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Well, this is a sign of happy times here at Oran Park. You clinched the championship here last year. It's round 2 this time around, but certainly you're hoping for, again, a repeat success.
Yeah, we had a really good race here last year, and as you say, capped off the championship with a win. We also broke the lap record, and this season, well, this year, I'm hoping to go under that record again, so it'll be a big challenge for myself.
And the car feels good so far in practice and qualifying?
Yeah, fantastic. It's been really good. It's right on the money, and I think it'll be perfect.
A fantastic crowd here for round 2, race 2 of the Australian Drivers' Championship. With me, Greg Rust.
Yes, thank you, Greg. A picture-perfect day here at Oran Park. And I tell you what, a great field of fabulous Formula Brabham cars.
Yes, just on their warm-up lap now, trying to get some heat into the tyres, engines, gearboxes, and possibly drivers as well. Paul Stokel and Steve Cramp out of row 1, Chris Hocking and Weeks out of row 2. Arthur Abrahams will not be starting, had a major crash in the first race. Unfortunately, he'll be sitting on the sidelines. We took some time to have a chat with him about his thoughts on the Brabhams.
Well, they're certainly a lot more difficult to drive than Formula 2, for instance, which is what I used to drive. They're a big physical car. You have to be fit. You certainly have to be alert and quite aggressive. You need to really want to pedal it hard to get the best out of them. And I believe that the closest thing we'll ever come to having a fair income Formula 1 in this country, and in actual fact the cars are physically the same as a Formula 1, other than obviously the money and the engines and whatnot. And I think someone who succeeds in this category is entitled to think they could probably drive a Formula 1, or at least have the opportunity to try.
Well, let's hope that we can get Paul Stokel, or one of these drivers, over to Europe to show us just what they're made of. Certainly they've got the right kind of skills here. Stokel, the defending champion, on pole position, gets away nicely. Some nice tyre smoke there. Everyone settles themselves down. Unfortunately, Arthur Abrahams is scratching, and Bill Farmer, all the way from New Zealand, unable to take part after losing an engine in qualifying. As they settle themselves in, looks like everybody's getting through the left-hander here. A tight left-hander at the end of the straight here at Oran Park. Each of the Brabhams settling in. Stokel, though, dominant here at Oran Park. He really does love the circuit. He holds the outright track lap record here. He also holds the Formula Brabham lap record. He also sealed his title last year here at Oran Park. I think you might be fairly safe in saying he likes the place.
Yeah, he certainly does. When you get a chance to talk to Paul about Oran Park, it's an absolute favourite of his.
Yes, it's a fast circuit for the Brabhams. Flows very nicely. You come down the straight, you can see that they sweep on the left of screen. Here comes Kaplan having a nice run up the inside. If Weeks can't do it, Weeks shuts the door on him. I was just stating that they get a nice line as they come down into the left-hander. They use all of the track. The wings generate some top downforce with these cars, and they really are nice to drive when you're out in clear air. And it looks to me as if that's Chris Hocking settling himself in. That's a nicely turned out piece of gear as well. He's been around for quite a while. A real stalwart of the racing of the Formula Brabhams is Chris Hocking. It's great to see him out there and doing a top job. He is indeed. Well, Stokel is dominant in this class of racing here in Australia. I know we keep saying it, but what else can you say? The man's simply running away with it. Oh, Weeks up the inside here as he gets around Chris Hocking along with Adam Kaplan, getting a little bit sideways there. I think he unsettled the car a fair bit. These cars require a fair degree of balance. They really are twitchy, and you can see that as they duck left and right down through the S's. I think Hocking's got a problem. Chris Hocking falling back through the field. Bad luck for him. Thought I heard a bit of a misfire a little earlier on. That's definitely terminal noises coming from the engine. Kevin Weeks on screen heading down, and behind him Adam Kaplan in the new Hunter Holden machine. Yes, it's a nicely turned out piece of equipment. And in fact, Formula Brabhams all revolve around the V6 Holden motor. In fact, originally this class was called the Formula Holden. Yes, until taking up the name of the famous Sir Jack Brabham. We now call them the Formula Brabhams, and since the name change, they have gone from strength to strength. Winning the Gold Star Championship from Australia means you have a licence that enables you to race these forms of cars in not only the United States but also Europe and England. That's what these guys are striving for. They need that class of licence to try and make their way overseas and into the big time, hopefully, the Formula 1. Well, that's Kevin Weeks on screen. He's in third place. Out of shot is Paul Stokel. Behind him, Steve Cramp. And Steve Cramp, another man who's come from Formula 2. just goes to show that the experience gained in Formula 2, which is a cheaper class to run, really does give you the kind of experience you need to put it in with these cars. You know, these cars exceed over 3 and 4 G-forces. They really are tough physically as well as mentally demanding to drive.
Yes, talking of G-forces, they also pull around 240 kilowatts of power or 320 horsepower, Greg. So they're not an easy piece of machinery to drive, and very, very challenging for the drivers.
They really are. I suppose it's a tuner's class. It requires quite a deft hand at not only preparing the machinery, but also the logistics that go around the vehicles. There is a lot to take care of with a Formula Brabham. There's a lot to know about tyres, aerodynamics, the engines. Fortunately, Larry Perkins prepares most of the motors for this class, and in fact you can get 2,000 kilometres between service intervals on your Formula Brabham engine, and you send them back to Larry. He tunes them up and sends them back. He also has lease deals available, so many of these cars are running LP motors, and anyone who knows anything about motorsport is pretty calm with the fact that Larry Perkins builds a pretty mean motor. Well, that's Steve Cramp on screen, the Just Genes machine, sitting in second place, does not have an answer for our leader, Paul Stokel, who is simply out in front and controlling this race the way we've seen him do so many times here in Australia. As I've said, the Barana machine is well turned out. Barana Engineering really do know what they're doing when it comes to putting a car together. They're very proud of that #1 plate, and they're certainly going to do their very best to hang on to it. As the cars now start to wind their way towards the end of this race, the battle for third place continues. That is Kevin Weeks, Adam Kaplan in behind him in the Hunter Holder machine, battling all the way. Here's your leader. This is Paul Stokel, the reigning Australian Gold Star champion. One more time as he heads down the straight here at Oran Park. A beautiful day for open wheeler racing. The crowd enjoying the sights and sounds of the Formula Brabhams.
He's, of course, our man out in front is no stranger to open wheelers, a man who's driven Formula Vs and Formula Fords with a great deal of success.
He certainly has, and I suppose one of the few people in this sport who's experienced all of the different types of open wheel cars on his way to our premier class. Well, this is Steve Cramp on screen. Gee, the car looks nice. Just Genes coming in and picking up the sponsorship of this car. It really does look a treat. And he settles himself in again very fast over the dogleg. In fact, that area there at better than 200 kilometres per hour. May not look that fast on the screen, but take my word for it, if you're standing on the side of the circuit, the wind rush from the side of these cars is absolutely amazing as they fly along down the straights. They are super quick and they are super crisp. The V6 engines really do turn some top speeds, not only here but around some of the faster circuits in Australia, well in excess of 270 kilometres per hour. That's Weeks in 4th place at the moment. So it looks as if Adam Kaplan has managed to best Weeks and move him back into 4th place as they're making their way around some of the lapped competitors here. Again, I think he's really got to settle himself in and have a good look at where Kaplan is fast, because that's Adam Kaplan just ahead of him there in the red and white machine. He's in 3rd place, and I think Weeks, well, he's probably doing the right thing, having a good think about the tyres. It's pretty tough on tyres, especially the right front tyre here at Oran Park. Takes a lot of loading, and in fact it really doesn't get much of a chance for a rest. It's a short straight, it's a fast straight, it's downhill, the straight here at Oran Park. They really do pick up some pace. Down into the left-hander here, 180-degree turn, then it's down into the S's, again downhill. A lot of hills, a lot of undulation here at Oran Park. It's an exciting track to drive, and it certainly has some pace when you manage to stitch all the corners together. That's your leader, Paul Stokel. Last lap for him. He's about a mile from home, or 1.6 kilometres. He'd be pretty pleased to see the last lap board. This will make it 2 out of 2 for him in both the races of round 2 at Oran Park. The field settle themselves in for the last lap here, and it just goes to show that Chaz Jacobson there, who managed not to finish, unfortunately, the second race at Phillip Island. They've managed to come up with some fixes for their problems, and he'd be enjoying just getting around to see the checkered flag, I'm sure. The Just Genes machine on screen there in second. This is your leader, though. Paul Stokel has done a great flag-to-flag drive here to take out race 2, round 2 of the Australian Drivers' Championship. The battle for second place, well, that was done and run. Steve Cramp put in a very fine drive indeed, and he managed to keep ahead of the battling Kevin Weeks and Adam Kaplan, who fought all the way to the wire. It's been a great battle from those two. Paul Stokel, though, the man who has managed to put the points away one more time, this man is dominant. Your man there in second place, Steve Cramp, done a very nice job indeed. Here's the battle that has continued for the virtual entire length of this race, and that's it. Adam Kaplan grabbing third place. So Paul Stokel, Stephen Cramp and Adam Kaplan here at Oran Park for the Australian Drivers' Championship. Right now, let's cross to the showground with all the speedway action. It's Steve Rain.